Okay, greetings everybody. Welcome. This week we'll be discussing something that's really a lot of fun. This is fun programming. It's very visual. We're going to look at Android drawing. So we're going to start slowly, and we're going to look at how to draw basic shapes on our Android device. So let's jump right in. So here's our agenda. The basic approach we're going to use is we're going to take the view class and we're going to extend the view class. So we're going to use the view class in an inheritance relationship. Really the same way, it's really the same thing we've done with the activity class. Think of what you do with your activities. Every time you create an activity, you extend the activity class. This is the same pattern, the same basic approach. We're going to take a view class and extend the view. Public class, my view, extends view, that kind of thing. Once we've done that, the actual drawing occurs in the onDraw method of the view class. Now, this is a callback, so it's another one of those methods that you do not call yourself. This method is called by the Android runtime. And you'll see there's a number of different ways that it gets called. But again, this is not something you call directly. It's called by Android. But you put your drawing code right into this onDraw method. The final thing we'll do in this lesson is to discuss touch events. Touch events are very similar to the events you've looked at. With a touch event, well, here's a touch event on a touchscreen device. So let's jump right in and let's look a little bit. Check my notes here. Let's look at the view class or Android drawing in general. So Android drawing, there's a lot that we could say about it. It's complex and complete. We won't look at everything, and as has been our usual approach, we'll start slow. We'll start slow and simple, and we'll build on it from there. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to this developer documentation, and I do recommend that you actually click this link and you go and read it. Here's the good news. I have the documentation right here, and it's admittedly, it can get kind of deep. There's a lot in here. Here's the good news. There's only one small section that you have to look at, and that's the section where it's called Draw with Canvas on a View. So it's really a pretty small section. So this entire thing, I printed it out. It's 10 pages. All we're really going to do with this first lesson is about half of page 2. I'll draw this over, and I'm going to drag this over and see if this works, if I can get this into my movie. But here is the documentation, and as you can see, I'll scroll through quickly. You can see there's quite a bit in here. Good news, all we really care about for this week is drawing with a canvas on a view. So that's this small section right here. I'll come back to it. So even though it's a small section, there's some very important things in here. So you need to make sure you understand what's in this section. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward. I think you won't have too much trouble with it. Read it through. If you need to, read it a couple times. So Android drawing is complex and complete, but we're going to simplify it. We're going to look at just one of the ways. And the way that we're going to look at this, as I indicated earlier, we're going to draw on a view object, and we're actually going to extend the view class, and we're going to actually draw on a view object. We're going to create a custom view. We're going to draw on it. This approach is for, this is for simple graphics with limited dynamic change. So you wouldn't do, most games you wouldn't do like this, but you can do simple games like this. And for our purposes, for our project, you can certainly do our project with this approach. For those of you that want to look a little bit more, and people do sometimes ask, people are interested in doing more complex games and more things with graphics. And like I said earlier, graphics programming is a blast. It's a lot of fun. There's a way to draw directly on a canvas. That's for high performance, frame rate graphics. Our graphics are something like 30 frames per second. So if you want to do frame rate graphics, which is really clipping along at a pretty good, pretty good rate, you would draw directly on a canvas. However, the approach we're going to take is we're going to draw on a view. So the way we draw on a view, like I've said a few times here, is we extend Android.view.view and we override the draw method. So the draw method is where our drawing actually takes place. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so the way we go about extending a view, it's pretty straightforward, and it's something you've done in every Android program that you've written. So the approach, we're going to extend the view class. We're going to put the drawing code in the onDraw method. As I've said a couple times now, we're going to assume a fixed size region. So we're going to draw on a region of the screen. In your homework, you'll draw on the whole screen. But we're going to assume a fixed size region. And here, this little code snippet that you see here, this is your basic pattern. You extend the view class and you override the onDraw method. Now, let me refer back to something in the Android documentation. So notice here in this overridden onDraw method, what gets passed into us in this callback. So we get handed by the Android runtime one of these canvas objects. So this is the type here, Android.graphics.canvas actually, and here again, here is the API, and that is linked in your notes. We call the superclass method, but really what we're interested in is this canvas object that we're passed. This we're going to actually invoke methods of the form draw XXX, and it's things like draw rect, draw text, draw bitmap. We're going to invoke methods on this canvas object. So I'm going to read just a little bit from the API here, from the documentation. So it's drawing on a view, and the most convenient aspect of doing so, the reason we want to do this is that the Android framework will provide you with a predefined canvas to which you will place your drawing call. So that's exactly what we're looking at here. We're handed this and we invoke methods on this object of type canvas that we're handed, and this is where the drawing takes place. And the methods, as you'll see, and we'll look at several of them in just a couple minutes, the methods, as you'll see, are draw rect, draw circle, draw bitmap, with appropriate arguments. So that's our intro. That's our approach. In the next video, we'll go ahead and we'll dig a little bit deeper.